Okay, so speaking from the defensive side, I'll mostly be speaking from the defensive line because that's what I play, and I don't know really what all the responsibilities include with the linebackers and the safeties on every play. Quite frankly, we didn't play consistent enough to win that game. We didn't execute consistently enough, and I think that that's the biggest thing that you have to realize when you lose a game that's in the manner in which we did. You always have to look back at it. Did we execute the game plan? The coaches set up a perfect game plan for us. It was a great scheme, and it's on us players to execute that game plan to perfection, or at least as close as we can get to it. And as I said earlier, quite frankly, we just didn't do that consistent enough. There were moments in the game where we did, and in those moments that we did, it was pretty obvious that we were stout in those times. Yeah, we didn't execute consistent enough in that game, and that's a big part of the reason why we didn't win. Starting with the defensive line, we didn't do our job of what our coaches asked us to do, and we take fault at that. Then going into the BYU game, this is a great BYU game. I mean, a great BYU team. Their offense is, in my opinion, they're really good. They got a lot of talent over there. Their running back is, if he plays, he hasn't played the last couple games, but if he does play, I think he's one of the best backs that we will have faced this whole year. And his numbers and his stats, they speak for himself. And obviously, he wouldn't have those numbers without the offensive line in front of him, and so that's an indication that they're a great offensive line and doing what they're supposed to do and opening up holes for him. The receivers, as every year, they have that length, and so our DBs will also have their hands full of making sure that they practice hard and play through their hands. But overall, if we want to win this game, we're gonna have to dominate on the defensive side, and we will not win this game if we do not do that.
The loss of Nevada, where does that rank, I guess, as far as the most difficult losses you've had to absorb as?
They're all the same, to be honest. Every loss is hard to take. It doesn't matter if it's against, a big-time opponent, if we were to play Alabama or if we were to play a high school team. I mean, just the competitive nature in us and in me, a loss is a loss, no matter who it's against or by how much it is. And no matter in what manner you lose it, a loss is a loss, and it hurts every time. So I don't rank anyone to hurt more. I hurt the same on every loss.
Is the effort still there, though, Ricky?
Absolutely. And I think that if the effort wasn't there, that would be the game wouldn't have been as close as it was, and these last few games wouldn't have been as close as they have been if our effort wasn't there. And I think that just speaks volumes of the kind of guys that are in this program. Has this season gone the way that we wanted to, or we imagined it would be going? Going into the season, not by any means. But with all that being said, the guys in this program, they're real stand-up guys. And I have no doubt that this Saturday we're going to play our hearts out like we do every game.
Ricky, I've seen sometimes where we play a non-conference game at the end of the year. It's a little hard for the players to get ready and be excited. But I would think against BYU in your guys' situation, that wouldn't be a problem. You feel like you'll be ready to play in a good game.
There's no doubt in my mind that every guy on this team, whether they be scout team players, whether they play a few snaps in the game or whether they play a ton of snaps in the game, everybody will be ready. Everybody will be giving their best because that's what's expected of them. They know that, and we're ready. We're going to be ready by Saturday. Whatever we need to do to get prepared physically, mentally, the coaches are on our side and they're helping us every step of the way, making sure that we are, getting our bodies back because it is late in the season, and it's up to us to get that mental part of the game and watching film, studying, tendencies. And I have already seen, it's Monday morning, and I've already seen a few guys in these films already, and that's just a reflection of the kind of guys that we have in this program.
Ricky, you
made that big defensive play in the fourth quarter. They ruled it as a fumble, regardless of what it was. How confident did you feel that you guys were going to be able to pull it out there after that play?
I felt very confident. You know, the good coaches always, before we go out, they tell us every time, let's get a turnover. Let's get a turnover because that's what it's all about. You win the turnover margin, you're going to win the game, more than likely. And if I'm not mistaken, they had more turnovers than us, and the outcome was they won the game. But, I mean, after that play, I'm just trying to go out there and make a play for my team because that's what they need me to do. That's what we need every player to do. And, coming after that play, I thought that we were, going to put it away, and I'm sure a lot of us did. But we just have to finish. We have to learn how to finish and have a dog mentality and just put teams away when it's time. And so, yeah.
Anything else for Ricky?
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we've got senior offensive center Austin Stevens. Austin's going to recap the Nevada game, and then we'll take questions.
Obviously, another disappointing loss for us. Coming into that game, we thought we were going to play well, and to come out and have that happen to us, was obviously very disappointing. But offensively, I think we played really, really well. We got to execute better later in the game. We got to get a first down and keep our defense off the field. But moving forward, we got another team this week, and it's a rivalry game and a big game for us up here. So we'll see if we can get after them.
When an offense runs the ball like we did, it doesn't happen accidentally. Blocks are being thrown. Is this like the best your group has played, do you think?
Yeah, I think that we played really, really well up front. And there's still things to be corrected. Like every week, is there's always corrections that we can be made, and but I think overall, this has been probably our best game from the five of us, and you saw the results. Between what happens when we can execute and do things the way that we're taught. That's we run the ball really well, so it's good to see that performance from us.
Austin, what do you see? Have you looked at BYU at all? What do you see from their defense?
They're very, very good. I think they have a lot of guys that returned from last year, so obviously playing in that game last year, we didn't play that well, and so they're going to be very talented up front. I think this is, probably one of the best defensive lines we'll face. From the four guys, I got a lot of respect for those guys, and they play tough, and they're physical, and they just do things fundamentally sound that are very good, and so it's going to be a challenge for us. But I think all of us five are in that room are up for a challenge every week. And I think this team's up for another challenge. So I think that's got to be our mentality.
Austin, I think that was a fair assessment. I think that was the best offensive line you played all season. How important was it to get that kind of momentum going in against the BYU defense that doesn't give up a lot of rushing yards?
Yeah, I think it's a huge momentum boost. Like I said, there's still things out there that we can correct. Which is always a positive too. It's not like we played perfect, and there's still things to be corrected, and we'll correct those this week. But moving forward for momentum and just building off that and seeing that we can, and believing in ourselves that we can run the football and we can play physical. So that's what we got to do this week against this team, because they're very, very good down there in Provo.
Under the circumstances where you don't really have anything to play with from the league perspective, is this a good time to have a rivalry game?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I think Coach Wells talked about it this morning. You know, you have 5 games this year in Mountain West Conference where we lost by a combined 29 points, and so to have that, and I mean that's that's almost just under 6 points a game in some of those games where you lost. So I mean, you flip a coin and they go our way, it's a whole different story. So I mean, for us, I think that, you know, playing BYU down there is just another opportunity, and you know, the goal is to bring that wagon wheel back to us that we had here 2 or 3 years ago from when we beat them down there in Provo. So we just gotta, you know, I know this team's a bunch of fighters, and the guys out here are gonna fight their butts off till the very end, and so that's what we're gonna do again this week and go back to work and see what we can do.
Austin, you played, this will be like your 7th game starts after 8 o'clock. I've talked to Matt about it. As a player, does that make any difference at all? Does it make Saturdays a little longer, a little harder, a little easier? I don't know.
I don't think it makes it really much of a difference for me. I mean, personally, but you know, it just makes for a longer day, really, because you know you're getting up, you're starting your day later, you're not necessarily going to bed later, but you're in your room and then you're not getting up for a while. So I think it just makes for a longer day for us. But I mean, I think we're all acclimated to it now that we've had it so much. I mean, we've only had 2 or 3 games that have been before 6 o'clock, really. So, you know, I think that we're used to it now, and you know, it doesn't really make much of a difference for us.
Anything else for Austin?
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we got head coach Matt Wells. We'll recap the Nevada game, preview BYU, and then we'll take some questions.
Came in. Another hard, disappointing loss at the last second for these kids and in this program, and it's hard. You know, we've had five losses in Mountain West play by 29 points, and that's obviously less than a touchdown in 5 of those losses, and you know, that's hard. You got to find a way to win close games. We got to find a way to call a better play or call a better defense or make another play or not turn it over. I mean, you got all 3 phases. Everything is obviously always gets critically looked at, and in a 1-point loss, there's multiple things that could have won the game really at any time, which just goes to show you how fragile and how precious winning is, and how hard that is when it's down to that type of a game. You know, on to BYU, this game's for the wagon wheel, and big rivalry game for us here at Utah State, and you know, players get up for one more game. And playing, you know, the seniors playing their last significant playing time in a major game. It will be a tremendous atmosphere. It always is down there. And this is a really good BYU team. And I know when you look at, I mean, just they've won a couple close games, but I'm going to tell you that I think the 4 losses they've lost by 3 twice and 1 twice, if I'm not mistaken. 8 points total. Is that right? Is that right? No, I am right. 8 points, 4 losses. I mean, they're that close to being in the playoffs. I mean, in that discussion. I mean, and that again, I'm sure Coach Sataki would say the same thing, is how fragile and how thin a line that is, because there's plays that could have gone either way, and they've won a couple close ones, but they've lost a lot of close ones, and that shows you how good this team is. You know, Taysom is a tremendous competitor. I have a lot of respect for him, what he's gone through in his career, the ups and the downs, the struggles, the injuries. but to see him and what he does, to me, is a testament for that young man's character and talent and ability. He's got 2 big, tall wideouts that are great targets. Best fullback we've seen all year in Brown. You look at their defense, the 3 linebackers will be the best 3 linebackers we play this year. Both safeties, Hanneman and Kai Nakua, are strong run support guys, great tacklers in space, very aggressive, and they got 2 really talented freshman corners out there on the perimeter that they're playing with. So it's a really good team, and they're coached well. I have a lot of respect for Kalani. I have for a lot of years, as long as I've known him, and the staff that he's assembled, and they're having a good year, really good year. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up.
You always had a Sunday meeting, or Sunday meeting with the team?
No,
The whole team?
Monday. Yeah, we had it this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, we had staff meetings
Is it
yesterday.
always- I mean, do you sense the same consistency in the attitude as you're going in after one of these, a loss like this especially?
Well, the consistency and the attitude so far has been this, Craig, is there's always disappointment on Sunday and Monday, and when you go through it and you see where you're at and you correct mistakes and you see the good things and whatever, then you start to work out of it through practice and weights later today and into practice tomorrow. And that's the one thing that that I talked to those guys, and I did praise them. Winning is fragile. Losing will never be accepted here, never be tolerated here. But their ability to persevere when they're not getting rewarded with wins is, I think, it's very respectable. It's very I have a lot of respect for our guys, for this team. I've said that the last couple weeks. I will not fail if I don't quit. And that's, perseverance. And they've got the courage to continue to put everything out on the line to try to win each and every week, even when, we're not finding a way to win a close game or they're being rewarded by a win or a celebration or that, and that's hard. And when you don't have that conference championship or now a bowl game to play for, that's hard. But these kids continue to fight. The fourth quarter of that, the sideline in the fourth quarter Saturday, that's a 3-win team right now, and it was unbelievable. The energy, the excitement, everything. There were times that we didn't play well or we didn't execute well, but anybody watching it can see that, and those kids know that, and I expect them to do it one more time.
Is it easier for them to get up under the circumstances where you don't anything you have to play for?
No.
But you got the rivalry game.
No, rivalry game will help, yeah, but it's hard to bounce back every single week. But that's why I'm saying I have so much respect for them, because where you're at, and the record is what it is, but yet they're still coming out and preparing and investing during the week and giving everything they got emotionally and mentally and everything they got physically. And we've battled through our share of injuries, and a lot of it's been next man up in some of these games and weeks. But they've never used that as an excuse. It's hard. But that's why I said I respect them so much, and they'll do it one more time. And the rivalry game and the will help this week.
I promise, Matt, I'm not trying to ask for specifics, but you guys have to be pretty banged up at linebacker. There's a lot of faces I haven't seen the last couple of games. How banged up are you at that position?
We're pretty banged up. But like I said, we're not using it as an excuse. You got, Lecky Waske, who's had neck injuries and neck issues and is probably going to be done. Unfortunately for his career, he has sat out the last several weeks. You've got Chase Christiansen with a broken hand that's been suiting up for emergency only. Brock's playing hurt. Anthony's playing hurt, really hurt. We missed Alex for a week with the concussion. You go on, but we are banged up at linebacker. Lost Justice for the for the second half. At some point, we didn't play with justice the rest of the game.
Yeah, so I got Baker in there instead.
Yeah.
What do you see then of Taysom Hill this year that's different from past years with him dealing with his injuries and also obviously going for that right now?
Doesn't seem like he's had to carry the load in terms of running the ball. He's absolutely a threat. He's a fierce competitor and runner, but with, in the past, maybe compared to all the pace and all the reps and all the runs, it doesn't seem like he's taken as much of a beating. I think their O-line's protected him pretty good. I see him being a little bit more fresh, and they've gotten on a roll. The guy's played well. He's played really well.
I don't know if you've really had a chance to see the film of their defense, but they're top 3 in the country in forcing turnovers. If you have had a chance to see film, why are they so good at forcing turnovers?
Because they're aggressive. They play hard. They run to the ball. Like I said in my opening statement, the 3 linebackers are the best group of linebackers we'll play all year. I talked about the 2 talented freshman corners. I talked about the 2 safeties that are very, very aggressive. I've seen enough, to know that, what are they, second in the country in picks, number 1 in forced turnovers, 18 picks. Are you kidding me? That's a lot. That's one in the, help my math, I'm from Oklahoma, over 1.5 a game. That's a lot of picks, and they've caught tip balls, they've caught picks, but they've aggressively, picked off and stepped in front of routes and all that kind of stuff. They're very aggressive, and they do a good job. They've been around where the ball is. It's like one of our coaches always says, luck follows effort, and when they've gotten balls out, there's been enough BYU helmets around them, and they've recovered those fumbles.
Wouldn't the grading or whatever you do for the Nevada game be high percentage positive stuff, the way you move the ball and everything?
Yeah. I thought our offensive line played well. I thought Wyatt Houston blocked well. Lawan and Kent both ran it. I thought we ran the ball very well. 396 yards rushing, and I think we left some out there, to be real honest with you. Running the ball. It could have even been a better day. So there were a lot of positives in terms of that, moving the football by running it. And the wind and those weather conditions led to that too. Led to more carries.
This is just a curiosity question, but was it a consideration at all to maybe take a safety there on the punt from the end zone with minute 3 left in the game?
The consideration was yes, but it wasn't real long, because there's only a 10-yard difference between punting the football. You're going to punt it from the 20, or you're going to punt it from what were we at, the 9?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. We weren't in backed up punt. We were in regular punt. We were in regular spread punt. We didn't have to bring everybody down tight and scoot the punter up. It wasn't a backed up punt situation. So if I'm not mistaken, the ball's on the -9, and you punt from a safety from the 20. And so, there's 10 yards. You're into a fierce wind. I'm going to tell you what, the kid punted it really well into that wind. So I didn't see an advantage for that. You give them 2 points, they're still going to have to score a touchdown, right? Okay. You don't give them 2 points, they're going to have to score a touchdown and kick the extra point, which we were close on blocking, but we didn't get it done. But you still got to kick it to win it. Or not, it goes into overtime. Give them the safety, touchdown wins it. You don't have to kick the extra point. But I thought there's an 11-yard advantage. There's 11 yards with a minute and whatever to go. So, didn't do it. Yep.
Kind of the ironic thing about the fumbled punt is Rodriguez has been so good all year. He looks so confident.
Yeah, Stevie's been excellent all year. Yeah.
In a crowd. What do you say to a kid in that situation?
What do you say? The kid had muffled one. He hadn't bobbled one all year. He hadn't done it all year. And in however many punts before that, he'd been spot on against the wind, with the wind. He'd caught both. He caught balls knuckleballing. He'd been all over the place. and he didn't try to attempt to catch it inside the 10. You know, he was at the 25 and drifted back about the 12, 13-yard line. And it's hard. I mean, kid obviously is not going out trying to do that. I mean, some people think so, but there's no way. The kid gives everything he has for this program and has since he's been here. Came, walked on, scout team, player of the year, earned a scholarship, and he's been, you know, he was second team All Mountain West, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Maybe honorable mention All Mountain West, whatever he was. He's been very, very consistent for us this year, and he was in that game in those conditions. So it's unfortunate.
A question about, and this probably didn't affect the game, but after we scored on the fly sweep, so it was 24-10, their next drive, there was some stuff going on, and maybe consecutive calls or something about substitution.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify what that was all about? Did they wave one of them off or something?
Yeah, they had actually called us for having 12 men on the field, and we actually had 10 men on the field. So that's what I was letting them know, that we were actually at fault for not having. We thought we were in one personnel group. Another kid thought he wasn't in. He came off. We had 10 on the field. I think pretty safely say that the referee assumed it was 12 and one coming off, or 13 and whatever. We had too many on the field. It was wrong. 12 coming off, and he didn't make it off. That was actually the 11th guy coming off. Just a mistake on our part, and a mistake on their part, and replay caught it and corrected it, and so it was right. Should have gone to 4th and 2, and it did.
So even the film shows guys running off the field?
The video or the TV, the replays? Yeah, they review it like they review every other play.
Rod Tuller had a 4-23 team in his coaching career at Utah State. And he says that's the team I always remember because they came back
So we're one away from.
to practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you could have that kind of a memory of this team. I mean,
You know, it's not the season that any of us dreamed or anticipated or set goals to, and even these kids are our seniors. But the one thing that they have learned to do is persevere, and it's not been fun. It's not been easy, and like I said, you have 5 close Mountain West losses by 29 points, and you know we got to find ways to win those games. All of them, some of them. And your season's completely different. Still may not be, if you don't win all of them, where you want it to be, but you're bowl eligible right now. And unfortunately, we're not. But for them to continue to come back to work and invest and put it all out there in the public's eye and the fans' eyes amidst losing and those close games and heartbreak, to me is very, very not only commendable, but it's respectable. And I've grown to respect them a tremendous amount this year because none of us wanted to have this. And they continue to fight. I think that speaks well for them individually, and I think that speaks well for moving forward, as we go through off season and even into next year, examples for our younger kids to know that, hey, winning is precious. It's fragile. It's hard. There's handful of plays every game that could tip it either way, and you win a couple close ones and you get that confidence that you need to maybe win the next 2 close ones, and we've certainly had that in the years past. But I think that all to me is it's good signs. That's a good sign. That's a positive thing, and it's also something that we will build on as we move into December and January here. So I think it's again, a respectable thing. Good? All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Yep.